Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about how not doing this can absolutely your workshops. So this thing I'm talking about is reading the room, right? Knowing who your audience is and what are their biggest objections, number one, and also what are their biggest wants, needs, and desires, right? And so I see this happen quite often, actually. In fact, this actually happened to me not too long ago, not in a workshop, but in a just on a one-on-one personal setting. I'm sure this has happened to you, where you put your foot in your mouth, right? Where you said something that you realize was not the right thing to say because you didn't know who you were talking to, right? Which is all about, and the reason we say these things, or the reason why we put our foot in our mouths, is because we are not building rapport, right? We're not building rapport. We're not asking, we don't know who we're talking to. And so not too long ago, I was at a coffee. I was with my girlfriend, and we were meeting with a friend of hers and her husband. And I didn't know the husband. I didn't know what, I knew a little bit about him. I knew that he was a psychologist, and we had actually built a lot of rapport. We shared a lot of things in common. So I thought that this was safe, but I didn't know his full history. I didn't know that he used to be an ABA therapist previously. And I've had a lot of experience with ABA, and this is not a blanket statement. Now that I've talked to some more ABA therapists, but I said something regarding ABA, which turned him off, and I knew it right away because I sensed and saw a big shift in his body language. It was very obvious that something I said had turned him off, right? So there's no better way than losing influence and the ability to get people to understand and embrace your message than by insulting them, right? And so it's critical that you understand this. I've talked about this before regarding, like, say, the neurodevelopmental market. If you are serving parents with children with neurodevelopmental challenges, there are key things that you need to know about that market. And it doesn't matter what your target market is. You have to intimately know what are their biggest wants, needs, desires, what are their biggest turnoffs, what language do they like to use or not use. For instance, with the neurodevelopmental target market, there's a word that's often used amongst providers and even parents, right, in that community, and that's the word kiddos. And it could seem like a really innocent word, and it is in most situations, except for when it's being used to describe a child with special needs and not other kids, right? And so there's some parents where that word can be very triggering, and it can turn them off. It can seem condescending, even though that is not what you're trying to accomplish, right? And so while you think you're building rapport using that word, you might be with some of the audience in your target market, you could be potentially turning off others. So it's critical that we understand our target market. What are their biggest wants, needs, and desires? And so before we even dive into doing workshops, that should be one of the first things that we do. Here's another example. I'll use the neurodevelopmental market again because that's one of my key areas of expertise. And that's that these families are very used to being judged by society. So it's imperative that in a workshop setting that you're using language that makes it super safe. And we're never suggesting that anything that they may have done has led to their child's challenge, because no parent wants to feel that way, right? Even though there might be some things that have contributed or been involved in that, right? Our audience, we never want to shame people or make them wrong, right? And so it's always about what can we do to bring them in, build rapport, trust, and credibility. So let's talk about objections, right? If we don't properly handle the objections that our room has, then there's going to be people that are in the room that are not moving forward with us. And this is really common, that we avoid objections because objections can sometimes feel uncomfortable to address. But if we don't address those objections, they become the elephant just sitting in the room, right? And we all know that if there's an elephant in the room, everybody knows it, and yet nobody's saying anything, and it makes it uncomfortable. It also means that people are thinking these objections, and they're not bringing them up, right? And if they have these objections anywhere in their consciousness, then that person is very much likely to not move forward with whatever service, offer, product that you have, even though your product and service could be really helping those people. So be sure to read the room, understand their biggest objections, understand their greatest needs, wants, and desires. And I promise, if you build that into your workshops and avoid language that is triggering for them and use language that really supports them, then you're going to get a much better percentage of people saying yes to whatever it is you're offering them through your workshops, webinars, and other places where you're speaking to them. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Can't wait to share the next topic with you. And as always, if you have questions, let me know. Love diving into your questions. And here's to you helping even more people by amplifying your voice. All right, take care. Bye.